Coronavirus response. As the deadly virus continues to spread around the world, President Donald Trump says the United States is prepared. We're at the White House. On the stage, Vice President Mike Pence addresses a conference for conservative leaders just outside the nation's capital. Seeking a home, an update on the Catholic woman who spent 8 years on death row in Pakistan. And new appointments. Pope Francis names 4 auxiliary bishops for 2 dioceses in the United States. On EWTN News Nightly for Thursday, February 27th, 2020. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tracy Sable. A new coronavirus case in California could be the first in the U.S. that has no known connection to travel abroad or another confirmed case. That person is from northeast of San Francisco and is receiving medical care. It comes as the world is scrambling to be on top of the outbreak. Governments and doctors are presenting an array of solutions. The viral outbreak that began in China has now infected more than 82,000 people and caused 2,800 deaths around the world. Schools in Japan are being closed because of the outbreak. The U.S. and South Korea militaries have postponed their combined military drill. Masses are being canceled, including in the Hong Kong diocese, where Catholics there are being told to make use of online resources for Mass. Friday prayers in Tehran and other Iranian cities are canceled. In Saudi Arabia, measures to stop the virus from entering the country are impacting Muslim religious rituals. Saudi Arabia is suspending entry into the country for the purpose of completing a religious pilgrim to Mecca or to visit the Prophet's mosque. The move potentially disrupts the plans of millions of faithful ahead of the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan. Here in Washington, President Donald Trump declared a widespread U.S. outbreak of coronavirus is not inevitable, even as top health authorities warn that more infections are coming. The president is putting Vice President Mike Pence in charge of overseeing the nation's response. Correspondent Owen Jensen reports now from the White House. Owen.
Well, Tracy, the president has been trying to calm the nation, saying this will come to an end, but also acknowledging the unknown.
At a packed news conference last night at the White House discussing the coronavirus, the president called on the VP to lead the battle.
I'm going to be announcing exactly right now that I'm going to be putting our Vice President Mike Pence in charge.
And then Vice President Pence stepped up to the podium, ready to take on the virus that has shaken the world.
My role will be to continue to bring that team together, to bring to the president the best options for action, to see to the safety and well-being and health of the American people.
President Trump said whatever happens, the country is prepared, adding the U.S. has the best people in the world.
But we're very, very ready for this, for anything, whether it's going to be a breakout of larger proportions or whether or not we're at that very low level. And we want to keep it that way. So we're at the low level.
Some lawmakers still criticize the administration's response. Members of the House Ways and Means Committee questioning the $2.5 billion request to battle the disease.
The president expressed an openness to accept additional funds from Congress. I remain deeply concerned that the president's meager request for supplemental coronavirus funding needs to be upped.
Defending the administration, Health Secretary Alex Azar believes the money is enough, but that could change down the road.
We do believe it is the appropriate response for the remaining months of 2020, but the president has made it very clear that we will work with Congress on a bipartisan, bicameral basis to secure additional monies such that Congress sees fit.
Now, a point of emphasis here, the number of cases in the U.S. remains low, according to the CDC, 15. One more note here, the stock market today again tanked. Tracy?
Okay, thank you, Owen. Correspondent Owen Jensen reporting from the White House tonight. Thank you. Meanwhile, Vice President Mike Pence spoke today at the Conservative Political Action Conference, also known as CPAC. He criticized Democrat Bernie Sanders for his socialist agenda. Correspondent Mark Irons was in the room and reports now from CPAC.
Tracy, CPAC is pushing this message in the 2020 election year. The group says the choice is America versus socialism, and it's casting President Trump as the hero of democracy and his opposition as socialist. Today, leading the charge was Vice President Mike Pence.
The truth is, it won't be enough just to win the next election. We've got to win the next generation.
Vice President Mike Pence may be playing the long game, but his main focus is on 2020.
Our movement, our party, and America need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House.
Speaking to this conservative crowd, the vice president claims all the Democrats running for president are one and the same.
Whether they call it Medicare for all or the Green New Deal, Democrats have been overtaken by a leftist ideology.
And today he also called out Democratic candidates for their pro-abortion policies.
Every leading Democrat running for president has actually said that there's no room in today's Democratic Party for pro-life voters.
I feel like we're killing the people that could be changing the world and we don't even know it.
The vice president's message on life strikes a chord with Morgan Van Swearingen. She was born to a 19-year-old single mother.
She was encouraged by my father's family to have an abortion. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her thinking that it wasn't right.
Van Swearingen, a college student in Michigan, is here promoting free speech on college campuses. She says her professor gave her a failing grade for writing a pro-life paper. Among this annual conservative crowd, you'll find people focused on different issues, but since 2016, it's taken on a noticeably Trump-focused transformation.
To me, he's just changed the whole dynamics of the Republican Party. You know, it's more like, to me, a Trump party that happens to be conservative.
The president will speak here at CPAC on Saturday, and the Trump administration guest list just continues. Tomorrow, the White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, will speak, as well as presidential advisors Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Tracy?
Okay, thank you, Mark. Correspondent Mark Irons reporting for us tonight. An update on the Catholic woman who spent 8 years on death row in Pakistan for blasphemy. Azia Bibi says she will request asylum in France next week. She is set to be in Paris to receive her diploma as a citizen of honor in the city. She is also set to meet French President Emmanuel Macron. Bibi has been living in Canada since being released by Pakistan last year. The recovery has begun in India after 32 people were killed in several days of anti-government protests.
We are just telling people they don't have to get scared, they don't have to feel insecure. The police is here to look after them, to take care of them. We have been going to streets, we have been talking to them on the ground, inside the streets also, and reassuring people that they should not worry at all.
It was the worst rioting in New Delhi in decades. Tensions have been building over a new citizenship law, which fast-tracks citizenship for some religious minorities from neighboring countries, but excludes Muslims. Pope Francis praised for the people of Iraq, a country he had hoped to visit this year. The Holy Father spoke to pilgrims from the Middle East yesterday in his general audience address. He told them that he was praying for peace in the war-torn country. Back in June, Pope Francis said that he would like to go to Iraq, but according to Vatican officials, a papal visit is not possible in 2020 due to conflicts in the region and other security concerns. The Vatican invites leaders on artificial intelligence to discuss ethical principles. This is the first Vatican workshop dedicated to artificial intelligence, specifically in the fields of ethics, law, and healthcare. Artificial intelligence, also known as AI, is the creation of machines and technology that work and react like humans. Dr. Hank Tenhav, professor for healthcare ethics at Duquesne University, joins us now from Rome. Doctor, thank you for joining us. So can you explain to us exactly what is artificial intelligence?
Well, there is no official definition, but it's actually the use of mainly algorithms to collect a lot of data and then use them for particular purposes. For example, Google is collecting a lot of data about our internet use, so that they can send you specified advertisements that are focused on you. And the question is, if you use that in healthcare, you can collect enormous number of data, and then you can use it potentially to improve healthcare. But the question is, actually, that's the main ethical challenge also, how are these data used and for what purposes?
And what role does ethics play actually in the development of AI?
Well, it's a limited role because many people are not so much aware of the impact of artificial intelligence in their own life. But I think there is as this conference is showing, a lot of people are interested in developing the ethical issues, And we should make them more aware of the potential benefits, but also the disadvantages of these new technologies.
And in your opinion, do you think that technology is developing too fast?
Well, it's rather fast developing. That's right. But and the ethics is maybe always late in addressing the ethical questions, but not too late. And I think we could have an impact as a population, as citizens, on the way this new technology is developing and how it will be applied. And so the main purpose is to make people more aware of what are the benefits, what are the disadvantages, and how it is used. For example, there is a question about what kind of data you want to collect. If there are data that are private, then we should be more careful. If there are data from our personal medical records, for example, there should be some kind of protection that they are used for the benefit of our own personality, but also for the benefit of other patients with similar complaints and diseases.
And I know that you're participating in a Vatican-sponsored event with researchers from around the world. How does this workshop help you to think differently in your field?
Sorry, but how it works to? Well, I think it's very good from the Vatican to organize this conference, because they bring the perspective of ethics into this new field, and they can articulate that the technology should not be dominating in our life. It should be humans that determine how it will be used. And you can be critical about artificial intelligence, because the question is, where is the intelligence? The intelligence is with human beings. So the artificial intelligence is only providing us resources that we should use for the benefit of humankind.
Well, Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight. Dr. Henk ten Have, Professor for Healthcare Ethics at Duquesne University. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you very much.
Coming up, what Attorney General William Barr said about the decline of religion in America. CPAC organizers say they are expecting attendance at this year's conference to be the largest to date. Many of those gathered include young conservatives from across the country. Joining me now from National Harbor, Maryland, is Alexis Whiteford. She's a student with the Network of Enlightened Women and a junior at Baylor University. Alexis, thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it. As a young conservative, is it important for you? Absolutely. Is it important for you to attend this year's conference, and what is it like being there?
At CPAC, we have been able to talk to many different people, different conservative beliefs. It's been an incredible experience being able to come and talk to everyone. I am coming with Network of Enlightened Women. It is a collegiate group for conservative women, and we really focus on being able to share different ideas and beliefs and discuss them. So being able to come to CPAC and learn about the different beliefs have been very helpful. NEW really encourages in promoting debates, and here I'm able to learn more and be able to bring it back to Baylor.
What role do you think young conservatives like yourself play in this upcoming election?
I feel like inspiring young people is important. There's a lot of politics that go on college campuses. I know a lot of people who are either political junkies or really don't focus on politics at all. I think it's important for us to voice our opinions, because we do have a voice, and college campuses are a great way to share opinions. A lot of people who may not be into politics are afraid of confrontation, and I think this is something we should work through, because confrontation isn't necessarily a bad thing. If we learn how to debate properly and share beliefs, it's a better way to discuss and come up with the future.
I'm curious if you could tell me sort of what's your experience like being a young conservative woman on a college campus today?
As a young conservative woman, I often find that I'm looked at differently than most females. A lot of people, when they think of females who are politically involved, they think of more the left-wing feminist. That is not the case for me. I have respect for all beliefs, but I was raised in a conservative household. I believe what I believe, and I would often, growing up, not share my more conservative beliefs, because I grew up in a liberal area where often if you did share conservative beliefs, you would get attacked. NEW has helped me be able to speak up better and know what I believe in. as a female, I just want to make sure that I continue sharing my conservative beliefs so I can focus. It's a freedom of speech in America.
Well, being at the conference, are there any takeaways from the conference so far that you plan on using when you get back to campus?
An incredible experience I've had here is just being able to meet all the different conservatives. I've been able to just walk up and have a great conversation with people I've never met before. I'm excited to bring back these ideas and beliefs and the fact that there are conservatives everywhere that are willing to stand up and fight for what we believe in.
Well, great. Alexis, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. Alexis Whiteford, a student with the Network of Enlightened Women and a junior at Baylor University. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Attorney General William Barr says the decline of religion in America is undermining democracy. The Attorney General, who is a practicing Catholic, spoke at a convention for faith-based broadcasters yesterday in Nashville. Barr called religion a necessary component to providing citizens with a moral compass. He also said without religious morality, the only way to control people is through tyranny. Tonight on EWTN's Pro-Life Weekly, Nebraska Senator and author of the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, Ben Sasse, reacts to this week's block on 2 pro-life bills in the Senate.
So we had 44 Democrats not with us, 41 actively filibustered, and 3 were off on the presidential campaign trail where they're pretending to kiss babies, but they wouldn't actually show up to vote to protect real live babies that are in harm's way.
The Republican from Nebraska also addresses the criticisms by pro-abortion advocates who call it an abortion restriction. You can see the full interview tonight at 10 Eastern on EWTN. Up next, a pro-life Democrat lawmaker appears to receive opposition from some Catholics. We'll explain. And the Holy Father names new auxiliary bishops in 2 U.S. dioceses. Two Catholic religious sisters are expressing their support for a pro-abortion primary challenger to win the last remaining pro-life Democrats in Congress. In a video posted on Twitter, Sisters Patricia Murphy and Joanne Persh of the Sisters of Mercy endorsed candidate Marie Newman in her bid for Congress against pro-life Congressman Dan Lipinski of Illinois. Sister Murphy cites Newman's incredible power to listen to people as a reason for her support. Newman, who is pro-abortion, is mounting her second primary challenge to Lipinski, who has the support of pro-life groups such as the Susan B. Anthony List and National Right to Life. Joining me now is Matt Hadro, senior correspondent at Catholic News Agency. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. First off, I think we should point out that the Institute of the Sisters of Mercy of the Americas says that, quote, it does not endorse any political candidate, and political endorsements made by any individual sisters represent their own personal views. That being said, this is surprising.
It is somewhat surprising for 2 reasons. One is that this is not something that you normally see every day, priests and members of religious orders making specific political endorsements, especially when nonprofits can't make political endorsements. But second, because Lipinski is he's a devout Catholic, he's a longtime 8-term congressman, more of an old school Democrat. So he's both pro-union, pro-environment, but also very pro-life. So it is surprising for those 2 reasons.
Yeah, this week we have been discussing the results of our latest EWTN News and Real Clear Opinion research poll. Some of the questions discussed abortion and to see if it plays a part in how people plan to vote in the 2020 election. What impact, if any, do you think the sisters' endorsement of Marie Newman will have on this race?
Well, the impact remains to be seen. It could be confusing for some Catholic voters. One thing that the poll showed is that there's a clear divide in how overall Catholics vote and how Catholics who say that they accept all of the church's teachings, how they vote. So that could be manifested here. Some Catholics who perhaps may not be very familiar with church teaching on abortion, may not be very politically active. It could be confusing for them to see this endorsement.
Yeah. During his 8 terms in office, Congressman Lipinski has worked across the aisle to support pro-life measures, and he's received criticism from within his own party for his views. What are the implications here for pro-life Democrats?
Well, the implications are huge. This is a race that's been getting national attention. It does reveal a divide within the Democratic Party. The more progressive wing are really supporting Newman strongly. And this wing is also, they've been very pro-abortion. They want to do away with some traditional laws, such as the Hyde Amendment, protections against taxpayer funding of abortion, that have enjoyed bipartisan support. Lipinski's been a consistently pro-life Democrat. He's one of the last remaining ones in Congress. And so this is a race that everyone's going to be watching next month.
Absolutely, Matt. Thanks so much for your time. Good to see you.
Likewise. Thank you.
And finally, tonight, Pope Francis names 4 new bishops for the United States, and 3 of them are in New Jersey. Abbot Elias Lorenzo, a Benedictine monk, is a new auxiliary bishop for the Archdiocese of Newark. Monsignor Gregory Studeris also is a new auxiliary bishop in Newark, as is Father Michael Saporito. The Holy Father also named Father Ramon Bijerno as the new auxiliary bishop for San Diego. We thank you for watching tonight. For the entire EWTN News Nightly team, I'm Tracy Sable. We're back tomorrow with more news from a Catholic perspective. Good night and God bless.